Film technique is something that there is no formula to. You can't teach it, you know. You can teach comfort, you can teach relaxation.
With the first week, we had Elizabeth Taylor showed up, Sidney Poitier. I mean, they came like droves.
Nick Nolte doesn't play it safe, never has. He's the actor who chose affliction over action franchises, who picked the thin red line over easy paychecks, who built a career on playing broken men with brutal honesty.
Stop the shit, you godless son of a bitch!
When Nolte hates a film, it's not about jealousy or competition. It's about watching cinema abandon truth for something easier, cleaner, more profitable. Understanding Nolte's hatred means understanding what he values. Raw emotion over manufactured sentiment, messy reality over sanitized stories, characters who feel like actual human beings instead of marketing tools designed to sell tickets. He spent decades refusing roles that felt phony, turning down money to protect his integrity. So when he watches films that embrace exactly what he rejected, the disgust runs deep.
And even though it was his first film, he just went right past his paranoia and didn't, didn't pull back or anything. He stayed right.
These 7 films represent everything Nolte fought against throughout his career. They fake emotions they haven't earned. They exploit real tragedies for awards consideration. They package dangerous messages as entertainment. They prioritize nostalgia and profit over honest storytelling. Some made billions. Some won nominations. But to Nick Nolte, they're examples of cinema at its most dishonest and cynical. This list matters because it shows what separates real acting from product placement, what divides storytelling from manipulation. Let's examine the 7 films Nick Nolte truly despises. 7. The nostalgia product. Top Gun Maverick broke box office records.
And death. I give you Captain Pete Mitchell. Call sign, Maverick.
Critics praised it as a return to classic blockbuster filmmaking. Tom Cruise flew real jets and risked his life for practical effects.
I don't know, I think it was released in maybe 100 theaters or so for 1 week and then pulled.
And Nick Nolte watched a 2-hour military recruitment video disguised as a legacy sequel. He saw corporate filmmaking at its most polished and its most hollow. Here's what bothers Nolte about this film. It's engineered. Every emotional beat is calculated. Every character moment is designed to make you feel specific things at specific times. Maverick learns nothing. He ends the film exactly where he started, a cocky pilot who breaks rules and saves the day. The young pilots are types, not people. The mission is simple: good guys versus bad guys with no faces or motivations. Nolte played soldiers and military men throughout his career, but he chose films that questioned what war does to people. The Thin Red Line doesn't glorify combat. It shows men terrified, confused, wondering why they're killing strangers. It explores the psychological cost of violence. Top Gun. Maverick makes war look like the most exciting thing you could possibly do. It's propaganda with better cinematography. The story goes that Nolte was asked about the film at a small gathering. He reportedly said something blunt. "It's not a movie. It's a commercial for the Navy with a $300 million budget." He wasn't being glib. He genuinely sees this as a corporate product masquerading as cinema. Paramount and the military work together to create something that serves both their interests. Art doesn't factor into that equation. 6. The white savior fantasy. The Blind Side made Sandra Bullock an Oscar winner. It inspired millions with its story of a wealthy white family rescuing a homeless black teenager.
Because it's warm.
Do you have any place to stay tonight?
And Nick Nolte saw it for what it really was.
I can't find anything as complex and interesting to do, but I need it.
A patronizing fantasy that reduces a real person to a charity case. The film takes Michael O'Hare's actual complicated story and simplifies it into something comfortable for white audiences. Here's the problem. Michael O'Hare was already a talented athlete with his own agency and intelligence. The Blind Side makes him nearly silent, passive, waiting to be saved by Leah Tohi. She teaches him football even though he's been playing for years. She gives him confidence even though he already had it. The film strips away his complexity to make her the hero. That's not honoring someone's story. That's erasing it. Nolte understands the difference between honoring reality and exploiting it. When he played Wade Whitehouse in Affliction, he didn't sand down the character's violence or make his pain pretty. He showed an abusive father and a damaged son without asking for sympathy or providing easy answers. That's what honest storytelling requires. The Blind Side wants you to feel good about a rich family doing charity. It never questions the systems that created Michael's homelessness in the first place. The real Michael Oher has spoken about how the film misrepresents him, how it makes him look less intelligent than he actually is, how it gives credit to others for his own accomplishments. And Hollywood gave this film an Oscar. That tells you what the industry values: comforting narratives over complicated truth. 5. The Privileged Journey. Eat, Pray, Love follows a wealthy white woman as she abandons her life and travels the world to find herself.
Restaurant in town.
Of course.
My place.
She eats pasta in Italy, meditates in India, and finds love in Bali. Julia Roberts looks beautiful in exotic locations, and Nick Nolte sees it as one of the most narcissistic films ever made.
It had an old stage in it, old proscenium, but we didn't use that.
Self-discovery packaged as inspiration for people who can afford to globetrot when life gets difficult. Here's what makes Nolte's skin crawl about this film. Elizabeth Gilbert's problems are the problems of someone with immense privilege. She's bored with her marriage. She's unsatisfied with her career. So she spends a year traveling to expensive destinations, eating expensive food, and having profound realizations that amount to happiness comes from within. The film never acknowledges how rare and privileged this kind of journey is. It presents it as universal wisdom available to anyone willing to seek it. Nolte chose roles about people who couldn't escape their circumstances. In Affliction, Wade Whitehouse is trapped by poverty, violence, and small-town limitations. He can't eat his way through Italy to solve his problems. In Down and Out in Beverly Hills, he played a homeless man whose struggle was real and desperate. These characters don't have the luxury of self-discovery journeys. They have survival. What this film represents to Nolte is Hollywood's obsession with making narcissism look profound. Elizabeth Gilbert spends a fortune running away from her problems, and the film frames it as courage. Real courage is facing your damage and dealing with it where you are, not buying plane tickets to somewhere more photogenic. 4. The tragedy as backdrop. Pearl Harbor cost $140 million to make. Michael Bay recreated the attack with impressive special effects.
With your permission, Captain, Admiral, urgent from Washington.
And at the center of all that spectacle is a love triangle between two pilots and a nurse. Nick Nolte sees this as one of the most disrespectful uses of real tragedy in cinema history. Thousands of people died on December 7, 1941. Bay turned their deaths into background for a romance. Here's what makes this unforgivable to Nolte. The actual attack on Pearl Harbor lasted about 20 minutes of screen time. The rest is devoted to Ben Affleck and Josh Hartnett fighting over Kate Beckinsale. The film treats one of America's darkest days as an obstacle in a love story. Real sailors burned alive in ships. Real nurses worked through unimaginable horror. Bay uses their suffering as emotional manipulation for fictional characters nobody cares about. Nolte knows how to approach war with respect. The thin red line doesn't glorify or exploit. Terrence Malick shows soldiers as confused, terrified, philosophical. The violence feels real and devastating. There's no romance to soften the horror. No melodrama to distract from the actual human cost. That's how you honor people who fought and died. You take them seriously. What drives Nolte crazy is that Pearl Harbor made money, that audience accepted this approach, that you can take a genuine historical tragedy, add a love triangle, throw in some explosions, people will call it entertainment. It proves that Hollywood will exploit anything if the budget is big enough. 3. The corporate joy. Mamma Mia is exactly what it appears to be. A cheerful musical built around ABBA songs where everybody dances and sings and ends up happy. It made over $600 million worldwide. People loved it, And Nick Nolte sees it as the perfect example of corporate cynicism. A film engineered in a boardroom to extract money from audiences while giving them nothing real in return. Here's what Nolte despises about Mamma Mia. It's not that it's a musical. Musicals can be genuine art. It's that this musical exists only to sell ABBA songs and create a branded entertainment product. The characters are thin, the story is predictable, the emotions are manufactured. Everything about it feels calculated by marketing departments rather than created by artists who care about storytelling. Nolte built his career on roles that felt lived in and real, characters with damage, complexity, and authentic emotion. Even in lighter films, he brought truth to the performance. Mamma Mia doesn't want the truth. It wants bright colors and familiar songs, and nothing that might challenge the audience or make them uncomfortable. It's happiness as a product, joy as a commodity. What makes this film represent everything wrong with modern Hollywood to Nolte is the success. That you can create something this cynical and empty, and millions of people will pay to see it. That audiences have been conditioned to accept products instead of art. That nobody seems to care as long as the songs are catchy. 2. The toxic romance. The Twilight films made billions. They turned Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson into stars. They created a cultural phenomenon that dominated popular culture for years. And Nick Nolte watched with growing horror as millions of young people consumed stories that romanticize obsession, control, and abusive relationship dynamics. These films aren't just bad, they're dangerous. Here's what makes Nolte hate Twilight beyond its quality issues. Edward Cullen exhibits every warning sign of an abusive partner. He stalks Bella. He sneaks into her room to watch her sleep without permission. He controls who she sees and where she goes. He threatens to kill himself if she leaves him. The films present all of this as romantic devotion, as the kind of love teenage girls should want. That's not entertainment. That's teaching toxicity. Nolte understands playing dark, complicated characters. He played a terrifying version of Max Cady in the Cape Fear remake. But that film never asked you to root for Cady or see his obsession as love. It presented him as a threat. Twilight does the opposite. It frames Edward's controlling behavior as protection, Jacob's aggressive pursuit as passion. Both male leads refuse to respect Bella's autonomy, and the story rewards them for it. The story goes that Nolte's daughter asked him about Twilight when she was younger. He reportedly sat her down and explained why the relationships in those films weren't healthy. Why real love requires respect and equality. Why does someone who controls you doesn't care about you? He took it seriously because he understood that millions of young people were absorbing these messages. 1. Extremely loud and incredibly close, 2011.
I wish it were you in the building instead of him.
This is the film Nick Nolte hates most. Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close takes the September 11th attacks and turns them into a quirky adventure story about a precocious child. It uses one of the most painful days in American history as a plot device to generate Oscar consideration. Stephen Daldry took real grief, real trauma, and real loss, then manufactured emotions around them for awards season. And it worked. The film got nominated for Best Picture. Here's what makes this unforgivable. The story follows Oscar, a child whose father died in the towers. Instead of honestly exploring trauma and grief, the film turns his mourning into a scavenger hunt across New York. He's a quirky kid with quirky traits doing quirky things while tambourines jangle on the soundtrack. The real horror of 9/11 becomes the backdrop for a feel-good story about healing through adventure. It's grotesque. Nolte knows how to play grief honestly. In Affliction, his character carries damage that feels real and earned. There's nothing cute about it, nothing quirky, just the raw pain of a man destroyed by his father's violence. That's what honest grief looks like on screen. It's ugly and uncomfortable and true. Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close makes grief into a puzzle to be solved by a clever child. The story that matters happened at the premiere. Nolte was invited because he knew people involved. He allegedly left before the film ended. When someone asked him about it later, he reportedly said, "They turned real horror into a quirky kid's adventure." I couldn't watch anymore. He wasn't being dramatic. He was genuinely disgusted by the exploitation. These 7 films betray what cinema should be. They fake emotion, exploit tragedy, and prioritize profit over truth. Nolte's hatred protects honest storytelling. What movie felt most dishonest to you? Share your thoughts and subscribe.